Hi, this is Madhava Madhireddy. We are moving on to the next lecture, which is week 4, and we will be doing something that is very interesting, which is visual analytics. So, visual analytics is one of the most widely appreciated and sought out professions right now. So, I think it would serve well for you to pay attention in in this class. So, we will be looking at business reporting, visual analytics, and business performance management in this class. So, what are we going to accomplish today? We will define what business reporting is, we'll understand how business reporting has evolved, and we will recognize the need for and recognize the need for the power of business reporting. Then we will understand the importance of data visualization and information visualization. Then we will learn different visualization techniques, and then we will appreciate the value that visual analytics brings to business information and business analysis. So we'll also learn about capabilities and limitations of the dashboards that we are going to create, and we'll understand the nature of the business performance management, which is called BPM. Then we will learn the closed loop BPM methodology, and we'll understand a little bit about the basic elements of a balanced scorecard. So one of the for starters, let's look at this. A self-service reporting environment saves millions for corporate customers. So we shall discuss this in our discussion session. So what is a report? Report is something that gives you information, and based on the report, what is the fundamental purpose of a report? The report is to ensure a departmental function, or it provides certain information, and it can provide a result for an analysis. It can persuade others to act. It can create an organizational memory. So this is fundamentally what a report is. It is basically a communication artifact, and that is primarily prepared to convey a specific set or specific piece of information. So what is the purpose of a business report? To enable and improve the ability for managers to make decisions. So what do you get this? What is the source? The data is, they can be from the inside or outside of an organization. And the format can be a text, tables, graphs, charts, anything that is useful for the end reader to understand. The distribution is via printed material, we can mail, portal, now social media. So many distribution methods are there. Now let's look at an architecture of business reporting. So we'll have data repositories, and let us say the data repositories, we can use information or business reporting, and that can go to the decision maker. Similarly, we can also get we already learned how to populate or load the data repositories, and the business functions, whatever the functions are there in the business, they can be loaded. The transactions happen, like how many sales are made, how many records are purchased, or whatever. All that is business transactions. They are all going into the repositories, and then we'll make the action. So once we make the decision, then we will see, oh, okay, some of these are being sold well, or some of these are not being sold well. Then we make a decision. The decision maker will take an action, and then and change some of the business functions, so that this is a ever increasing, ever and more profitable cycle. So what is the key to any successful business report? It should be very clear, it should be brief, complete, and absolutely correct. So the report types are either informal, like in a letter or a memo. It can be formal document, or it can be a very short report, like showing a weekly report or a monthly report or investigative report. So what are the types of business reports? We have metric management reports. These primarily help manage business performance through the metrics, and they can be used as Six Sigma or TQM. So we'll talk about the Six Sigma approach a little bit later in this lecture. And we'll also have dashboard type reports. You probably might have been familiar with the Tableau dashboard. So you have graphical representation of various performance indicators in a single page. That's called a dashboard type report. And we'll also balanced scorecard report, which is a mix of like financial, customer, business, and growth indicators of any particular business. If we can put up all these. Now let's look at the common characteristics and the components of a business reporting system. We talked about in the previous class the OLTP, online transaction processing. So basically enterprise resource planning. So anything that what happens online, we can do the transaction. We can use that transaction as a report. Like for example, you buy something from Amazon, so a report is generated that your purchase was made, a purchase order was created. So that is basically an online transaction processing. So we have data supply, we have ETL and storage of data, and business logic, publication medium, and assurance. All of these are the several components of the business reporting system. So without any of this, the reporting system is not fully operational. It can function, but it will not be fully operational. So data and information visualization. So usually we don't call it information visualization, but in our buzz term is data visualization. The use of visual representations to explore and make sense of data. That's called data visualization. So if you want to see how gold price has increased over the last 10 years, so you need to look at a time series chart. If you want to see the share of Australian business, share of mining in Australian business segment, so you want to look at a pie chart. So different information graphics are suitable for different visualizations. So let us go back in time and see what data visualization started. So you might be surprised to see data visualization, even though it sounds cool and sounds modern, it has not been like a recent trend. It's been there for 2.5 centuries. That means 250 years back. Even then there was data visualization, but until then it was not recognized. At that point it was not recognized as a discipline, but there used to be some tools that date back a few centuries. Let's look at an example here. If you look at this chart, so this is the first pie chart created by William Playfair. So you can see that the balance in the favor of England and the balance sheet in the favor of, so how the balance was changing. So now this is like a pie chart. Now you can see a trend line here, how things were changing. The thickness indicates now this can be like a dashboard as well. Like now you can see there are multiple informations, the black lines and the thick gray line and the blue line and the bottom black line. All of these give you uh, a mixed source of information. So we have some text here that explains the trends, and we have three different sources of trend lines. So the emergence of internet has dramatically changed it during the last 20 years or so. So the internet has made the information visualization and the data visualization really easy. So now people have very good understanding of 3D graphics, animation, graphics rendering, virtual worlds, real-time feed. All of these have been not around in the 1990s, 1900s, but mostly they are the elements of the this millennium. So different types of charts and graphs. This is where the heart of data visualization is. We have line chart, bar chart, bar charts, you probably know. I think we will go through each of these type of charts. Most of them you should be familiar with. Bubble chart is something like the size of a bubble can indicate the magnitude of, for example, the 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 number of deaths due to coronavirus, let's say. So now that can be represented by a bubble chart. Now in that case, we will have Italy and China as very big bubbles in that chart, and then we have other countries in proportion to the size of that chart. So that's a bubble chart. Now on the other hand, we have specialized charts like such as histogram, per chart, and geographic map. So these are specifically designed for a particular purpose. So for example, if you take a heat map shows the, if you want to show the density of population in different countries, and the largest density will become the the reddest one. So when I say reddest, I mean reddest. So slight red, slightly dark red, slightly thicker red, slightly thicker and thickest red. So that heat map can give you uh, the range of the the temperatures, range of the intensity. This is a very familiar data set. We will actually play this. Okay, it doesn't play. So this will actually this is on the left, on the x-axis we have income per capita, and we have on the right, on the y-axis, life expectancy. Now if you see each bubble in this particular country, like the yellow bubble is Americas, the blue bubble is Africa's. Now you can see the African bubbles, they are lower in income and lower in life expectancy. Now if you see the red bubbles are Australia and Oceania. So now you see the red bubbles are pretty big, the China and Australasia. Australasia is pretty red. So now this may be China, and I'm guessing this will be India. And smaller red bubble, that is likely, I can bet that it is Australia, because so it has higher life expectancy, and so no other country in here has as high a life expectancy as Australia. So we are living in the best country possible. So this is a Gapminder data set. This is this data set, like a lot of people would have analyzed. I personally have analyzed this data set so many times, and I used the programming and created dashboards, and that is something that you would enjoy doing. The emergence of data visualization and visual analytics. So this many data visualization companies have gradually improved their vision and their ability to execute. So what it's happening is people become not only uh, from niche players, they gradually become visionaries, and they were able to execute on a global scale. And that is why now you see majority of the successful companies are here. They're industry leaders, and they because they are the visionaries, and they are also, the programs are also very easy to execute. If you look at Tableau, it is such a easy tool to work with, and yet a very powerful tool. So visual analytics have emerged, and companies like Tableau, Spotfire, ClickView, all these have transformed the visual analytics data space. So we have the focus by the big players. The micro strategy has included the visual insight, SAP, SAS, and Microsoft version like Power Pivot and Power View. These are also like the one of the best visualizing tools. So Cognos Insight and India and Indica, they are also coming up as emergent technologies. So visual analytics, even though it's a recently coined term, it's in information visualization and predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is something analysis that we use to predict what is going to happen in the future. So information visualization can be descriptive or backward focused. Predictive analytics is, on the other hand, what will happen in the future, and it is forward focused. So descriptive analytics example will be like, what is the how is the performance of McDonald's over the last 15 years. That could be what is happened, what has happened. That would be a descriptive analytics. Then predicting the market share of the McDonald's in the coming years. In the coming years, that could be predictive analytics.